Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. There's definitely been a hockey game brewing off the ice, away from the Scotiabank Saddledome. It's kind of a follow-up to this video right here, where it was given my initial reaction to just before Christmas that the Calgary Flames told the mayor of Calgary, Jody Gondik, that they were pulling out of the arena deal, and ultimately that arena deal that was agreed in principle for the new Calgary Event Center was wholly off the table. That's considering that a couple of years ago, I also made several videos talking about progress of the new event center, that a couple of years ago, the original agreement, this as I know, was it was going to be 50-50 split, where the Flames were going to pay for half it and the city was going to pay for half of it. They were anticipating back in 2019. This will give you an idea how much costs have changed, especially in this changing environment, that it was $550 million. Both sides were going to pay $275. Then, if you fast forward to 2020, there was this thing called a pandemic, global pandemic with COVID, trying to skirt around that, because it's been dealing with it the last couple of years and starting to drive up costs with supply chain issues. I mean, heck, it's getting tougher just to buy the specific items you need at the drugstore or the grocery store. That definitely has been the case with construction materials. I think it was the cost of steel or concrete, that it was earlier in 2021 that eventually everything was on hold due to budget concerns, and then eventually the cost went up to not that much, $608.5 million, or I think it was split that the city was going to put in another $12.5 million, while it was another, I think it was $27.5 million that the Flames are going to put in, plus they agree to cost overruns so that they were going to get less put on the hook. So the cost went up from $550 million to $608.5 million. And then it lead up to that the construction would have not started from August 2021 till January 2022. Apparently the development permit was already agreed upon with the new event center in November, because it was the end of December 2021 that everything had to be signed off to start construction. That's when the Flames came in and told the city, oh, we're pulling out. The word was, when I said in that video, where essentially it is become a pissing contest or a pissing matchup. Now I'm going to call this one's definitely been a political hockey game, that we're talking about the sidewalk, right away, solar panels, which I'm going to say the solar panels weren't necessarily installed in after when Jody Gondik called it climate emergency, which that's not going off to a good start as your tenure as mayor in Calgary. But if you are aware, in the engineering and planning industry, they have lead when it comes to lead engineering, or there's a leadership in engineering and environmental design, where you have certain thresholds where this building was going to be LEED silver, which I know I used to work in an office where our office space was LEED silver, where we did things like daylight harvesting, wireless urinals, and all that. So I think that was already part of the design. But we're talking about, less than 2% of the cost, which you almost have to say that maybe that's what the Flames wanted, because where Jody Gondik kind of takes some heat on, well, she didn't agree to the initial cost and deal back in 2019 when she was a councillor, which that's every right that she has. But now that she's mayor, basically it sounded like what happened was when Murray Edwards, the chair of the Flames ownership, talked to Jody Gondik instead of pulling out. It was almost like she was like, okay. But then apparently councillors were pressing on her and saying, wait a minute, we need to talk about this and get this back on track. So apparently now the city council has unanimously approved, or agreed upon, I should say, to come back and talk with the Flames, but agreed to put a third party in play. because I know that if you saw City News talking about this recent issue about Flames pulling out and the city suddenly saying we need to get back to the table, they describe it as a broken marriage. Because the Flames know they need this arena. The city council knows they need this arena. Both in terms of revitalizing downtown. I mean, the vacancy rates have gone up, especially with several economic downturns and the pandemic. But also the fact that, the Flames are playing in one of the oldest buildings arena. And the Flames ownership did say up this whole time that they are committed to still play in the Saddledome. And I know that the lease, apparently the Flames have a lease in that building until 2033. But there's word on that the Saddledome needs at least $50 million in upkeep just to bring up to snuff. And then it's the unique saddle-shaped roof, which also is the reason why we lose out. Apparently, if they want to maintain that, we're hearing word that's going to cost almost upwards of $200 million. Now the city owns that building. Eventually, with this new event center, the city is going to own that building and lease it out to the Flames. So I'm going to still say my feeling is that the arena is still going to get built. I just still think both sides need to figure this damn thing out, like I said in the previous video. And I also think maybe in a way the Flames got the city where they want them. Because who knows? I have a funny feeling that when it finally happens, we're probably going to pay a little more for it than we originally did with this original cost. But I got to wonder, is this just part of the negotiating ploy? You can't think that everything goes completely smoothly when it comes to building an arena in a city, but it seems like for this case in Calgary, things have definitely been taking a lot longer than needed to be. Considering it was 7 years ago that the next project was proposed, which would have been on the west end of downtown, where the old Greyhound station is, the GSL. But the issues with that one was, reclaiming that land, because there used to be a mill that was on that site there over 50 years ago. It would have been nice if they had that all-in-one arena with the football stadium. That means the Stampeders would finally get a new building too, because McMahon Stadium is definitely showing its age, but so is the Saddledome, which definitely is kind of depressing to say that, considering how iconic the Saddledome is. It is almost 4 years old and is one of the oldest buildings in the National Hockey League. I mean, the Madison Square Garden is an older building, yes, and that's definitely one place I want to go catch a hockey game. But they recently spent over $1 billion US updating that building so that everything on the inside was updated, but the outside still looks the same. And then keep in mind the Climate Pledge Arena, where the Seattle Kraken play, it's essentially the same building that the Key Arena was in, just to lift up the iconic roof in Seattle and build a new arena around it. It would definitely be a lot more expensive to do that with the Saddledome and still have to upkeep the roof, but I'm just saying for the amount of money that the city eventually is going to have to pay to upkeep the Saddledome to still have the same issues that we're having right now, I still think this arena still has to eventually get built. Especially with the plans with the East Village, revitalizing that area of the city, try to revitalize downtown, and the city definitely needs a bounce back. But also the fact that even, let's say, if the Flames were to relocate, I think it still would have cost this team more money to pay relocation fees to go to, let's say, Houston. Or imagine how much an uproar would be here in Alberta and Calgary. As I want the Nordiques back, as like any other Canadian hockey fan, but if we lost the Flames to Quebec, oh boy, it'll be 1886 all over again in Calgary with another fire, this time for different reasons. But that's just kind of like my going on about this, story with the Saga with the arena. It's definitely become a political hockey game. I mean, it definitely is a continuation of this pissing contest that, I am kind of blaming a little more on the city that why this has collapsed. I think Jody Gondit should have tried to push a little more when Barry Edwards said, hey, can we delay this a month and have an emergency meeting? Because the meeting only happened because of councillors telling, the mayor, as I know, that, hey, we need to figure this out. And I like what the City News said about the marriage between, or it's a broken marriage between the city and the Flames. They need each other. They just aren't agreeing on each other. They both know that this arena is needed. But I think it's just definitely different leadership. If we would have had different leadership in the mayor's chair over the years, that I think the things would have been a little smoother. But that's just my personal opinion. I mean, it gets touchy when you talk about, using public funds to build a sports arena, stadium, or whatever. But even in the city of Detroit, which has definitely been hit on economic times, they got all four of the major sports. And they've been able to find a way to get all four of those teams new, beautiful buildings. I think we can somehow figure it out with our one, given all the circumstances here. Because I think the cost would be a lot more, A, if we just keep pushing this off. See the Green Line, for example. But B, if ultimately we lost the team, just with the community impact in terms of, donations, the time that the alumni and some of the ownership group has put in, the city will definitely lose out on all that, and definitely would really not bring back any economic bounce back. Assuming, this pandemic ever ends and this recession ever ends as well, but it is what it is. I'll just keep planning on making more videos talking about this matchup, that showdown between the city and the Flames. They both know that they need the arena. They just need to figure this damn thing out. So anyways, like to say, if you want to follow along this Calgary sports fans' journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, hopefully for many more years to come. As I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, where I recap games and stories and that. And lately it's been a lot more stories why things like this, or the fact that the Flames, reason that they haven't played as many games because of what's been going on. But when I've had time, which I definitely hasn't been much of that lately, especially now that I'm back to the regular grind, I do a variety of non-sports content, like personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and I also do share my experience sim on the road or a sporting event, and I do some vlogging to go, so if that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, do follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey. You too, just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I also have my other social links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me, and of course I have my second channel in Brett Hornby Shorts, where I exclusively put my short form content on there, so I appreciate you like, subscribe, both here on my main channel as well as my second channel. So I'm still going to say to the Flames and the city, I'm going to say even more with the city, just figure this damn thing out. Let's get this arena going, and it's all part of your big plan with the revitalization of the East Village, Victoria Park area, and make that part of the city more vibrant, more than just 10 days in July, but it seems to be the games continue off the ice. So I just want to say thanks for watching, go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video.